world. You ready?
All right, welcome to Bigger Than the Game with Deremy and Jose. We're doing a rewatch of the De La Hoya versus Trinidad fight. September 18th, Jose, will be 25 years since this match, man. I can't believe it's been that long, but
I know.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I know. It doesn't feel that long for sure, but you're looking at these two, they look it.
yeah, they look young.
These guys look really young, and yeah, this is the fight of the Millennium. You know, like this is a big deal right here. And I know, Deremy, we did a podcast episode on this fight, so you know, hopefully you kind of jumped on and listened to that first before watching this rewatch with us. But yeah, we were both, I know we were talking about during the podcast, Deremy, we were both crazy excited for this fight at the time.
No, it was so, I mean, it was one of those things to count down, and I remember being a young, like, middle school kid and making sure to, like, fight the sleepiness, fight all the prelims to stay up for this fight. Like, it was important to make sure to stay up for this fight because this was as someone who loved sports history, like yourself, like me. I'm like, man, I wish I could have seen Leonard Hearns. I wish I could have seen, you know, Hagler Hearns, all those fights. And I'm like, this is that. This is what I was getting. So that excitement was there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And the build-up, we talked about it also during the podcast. Like, the build-up for this fight, as soon as it was announced, man, like, it was like, holy shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these two are going to fight. These are the two biggest names in the welterweight division. And look at that, man. Like, and that was the scene in a lot of places there. I mean, man, like, especially where I grew up, man, I know exactly, this is one of those moments in sports we always talk about, on this show where, do you remember where you were at? I remember exactly where I was at watching this fight.
No, absolutely, man. And this was a big deal. And, you know, at the time, you could say Oscar De La Hoya, biggest name in boxing, and one of the biggest names in sports, you know, and Felix Trinidad, one of the big names in boxing at the time. I look at these two guys, Roy Jones Jr. and Tyson, as probably the biggest names in boxing at this point in time.
Yeah, and this, you mentioned like Hagler Hearns and all those fights in Sugar Ray and all those guys, Duran. Like, that was a time where the heavyweight division was the most popular division in boxing, and I think this was also happening at this moment in this era of boxing as well. Like you mentioned Mike Tyson, but you know, he was kind of on a downward slide. You know, like these guys were in the prime of their careers, both of these guys undefeated champions, and the welterweight division was about to take over. It was taking over, to be honest with you, man. Like, the biggest names were there. You mentioned Roy Jones also, but during the podcast we also talked about like how Roy Jones didn't have really like another guy in the division and Tarver later on, but you know, there was no big fights for Roy Jones. Like, these guys now are about to start fighting each other. We mentioned Fernando Vargas, you know, we got Shane Mosley in the division. You know, the next fight, Trinidad fights David Reed, medalist, Olympic medalist. You know, he's coming up and he's, you know, coming in and trying to do his thing. So these guys are now ready to start facing each other more often.
No, it's interesting too, because getting ready for this episode, I watched on YouTube like a pregame, like HBO did like back 25 years ago, and they interviewed both guys. And Oscar was saying he doesn't like looking at his opponent when they, you know, the refs are talking to him. He's always looking up, and I think it's interesting. I always believed in like that stare down, like if someone's staring you down, stare them right back. But you know, everybody's different. It worked for. I mean, Oscar has a great career. You got to give him that. Yeah. So it worked for him.
His father seemed to be.
I think it's lame, but whatever. Like,
I don't like it either, but it worked for him.
It's very disrespectful, I think.
I don't think there's any question.
Did I stare you?
You don't got to stare me down, but like,
there's a mouthpiece missing.
Knowledge I'm there or something. I don't know. Like, but I love Trinidad, man. Here when they were trying to like
celebrating this fight,
have him touch gloves,
to do his job.
He was not having it. I felt like these guys did not like each other. More Trinidad De La Hoya than De La Hoya Trinidad, but there was animosity here as well.
Well, I guess the thing is that, you know, and I'm not one to speak on it. I don't know, but was there, you know, even though it's Puerto Rico and Oscar's Mexican American, but was it like that thing of you don't represent what a true like Hispanic fighter like is, like you don't have that, like you think that's what it is with him?
I felt that, yeah. Like I know I felt that watching and preparing for this and stuff. Like, because again, like you have on one side in Tito Trinidad, like you have that, like he's authentic, like doesn't speak English, and not that makes you authentic or whatever, but it's like he's true to himself, he's true to the culture, he's true to Puerto Rico, and you, man, well, somebody about to get smacked up. So he's carrying a mouthpiece.
Yeah, I remember this too.
But on the flip side, you know, even his own race, let's just say, in De La Hoya, the Mexican race, like a lot of his fans didn't really take to him, except this fight, of course. But you know, he was looked at as American, like he crossed over, and you know, you mentioned the most popular boxer for sure at the time, and he was big in sports overall, but you know that was a big difference here with fan bases.
And I want to say before the action starts, I can, when you're a person of color in this country, you get that, and being born in this country, it's tough, and I don't want to hold that against Oscar.
Not at all. Like, he was doing his thing. He was about the brand before a lot of people are doing that like they're doing it today.
And for me, my annoyance with him is just for not being honest with his words. But
he was fake, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that, like, you're Mexican American, like you're born here, you're a Mexican heritage. It shouldn't be a thing. It shouldn't be like, well, you're not one of us. Like, that's wrong.
Yeah, I honestly don't like that. You know what I mean? Like, but again, people were, I think, using that to assassinate his character, because everything else, I mean, he had his issues obviously like later on in his career, but you know, like, you know, he was gold medalist, like, you know what I'm saying? Like he did what he was supposed to do, and you know, he was very marketable, and I think also, like, you know, like the pretty boy thing, like culturally that's not normally what you look at or see with the Mexican fighter. He was all of that, and he was very good at that, as we're going to see in this fight. But he wasn't that warrior standing there and punch out and then get knocked out and get beat up. Like, he wasn't that, which I don't blame him. Like, I don't know why you would want to fight like that, but that's what people want.
But you see here, man, it takes me back. I haven't watched a Tito fight in a while. I've seen De La Hoya.
Me neither. This wasn't his best fight either.
No.
You know, and we'll be definitely looking at that. And yeah, that you're going to see a lot of that. Like, you know, this De La Hoya, like, he's going to throw a combination and then bounce right back out there beautifully, you know. And you know, just watching this fight, I remember watching this fight, man, and I was like, oof, man, like that was not, it's not look good, you know, early on.
Yeah, I think Tito, you could tell, like, the pace, De La Hoya setting the pace.
Absolutely.
And Tito's trying to, like, kind of figure him out here. But I think Tito respects him. Maybe he didn't respect him with dabbing up gloves, but he respects, like, he hadn't been in the ring with someone this skilled before.
Yeah. And he's definitely that. You know, like, you can say whatever you want about De La Hoya, and if you're of Mexican descent and you don't like how he can fight, dude can fight. You know what I'm saying? He can box beautifully, man. And here he's so super motivated, De La Hoya, man, and that's a scary thing, you know, because I've seen that in a few fights. And Fernando Vargas fight, he was super motivated. Like, it was some of his fights that, you know, he came out and he looked amazing.
But definitely,
he's starting to open up a little bit too, De La Hoya.
Belong to De La Hoya. Trinidad throwing a lot more. Now we got the first left hook to the body by Felix Trinidad.
Trinidad did hit that left hook to the body. George is right.
Yeah.
Tactical round.
Two good jabs, man. Like,
how much respect these two guys have for each other.
You didn't get the You didn't get the De La Hoya flurry at the
No,
end
you didn't
there.
get that. Tito did throw a couple punches there, you know, but still, wow. How could you call that 10-9, Roth?
You're doing well, Oscar.
For Tito.
Yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes, like, judges, again, I'm not going to speak for this guy, but I'm not giving him that round. But I think, like, he looked like the aggressor, I guess. He was, like, chasing De La Hoya more, and I think some judges favor that. I'm not sure. Like, that's the only thing I can think about, and I'm super reaching on that.
No, I mean, you're right. There's criteria for every judge. That doesn't.
Yeah.
That can only matter if there's like the exchanges are pretty even.
Right.
Well, who set the pace more? But if there's something like this where clearly someone got off better, more effective shots, then that's what takes over. You know.
Right.
Conservative fight, choosing the times to engage. And he did that in the first
because you can see him. He's chasing De La Hoya. De La Hoya's kind of still bouncing around. He'll throw 1 or 2 punches in Trinidad, I mean, but they're not. Nothing's landing flush. And De La Hoya has a plan there. When that left hook comes, he's throwing that right hand, and he connected with that right hand right there.
Good left jab now.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is huge too, Jose, because earlier in the year, and Oscar had that war with Ike Corte.
Great fight.
So, you know, that also needs to be added here, that he's getting in there with Ike Corte, a tough fighter, and then following that up with a guy like Tito Trinidad. Like, you got to give Oscar that. Like, he didn't back away from anybody.
Hell no. And we talked about that during our episode on De La Hoya. Like, he did not, he fought everybody. You know, anybody in his era that was a name or whatever, he fought him. You know, and you can go down the list. You know, he fought, you know, obviously later on Mayweather and, you know, Hopkins. He fought, we talked about Fernando Vargas. Ike Corte was a good fighter. Trinidad. Pacquiao, like, fought everybody, man, you know, and looked good fighting these guys, you know. He lost a couple of those fights. He fought Mosley. He lost to Mosley twice, but he was fighting them. You know, he fought everybody. And I give De La Hoya all that credit for sure. Yeah, they gotta hype him up. He ain't doing much. De La Hoya's beating him to the punch every time.
De La Hoya splitting his hands and landing that jab through Trinidad's guard.
Yeah, he is. Look at him. He's got his hands down. He's feeling pretty good right now, man. Look at that. He's on his toes. He looks good, man. This is like prime De La Hoya that I would put up against a lot of fighters, man.
Absolutely.
This is all-time great stuff right here. Hall of Fame stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, one of the greats of all time here, and I think this just shows the level of the fighters who Tito fought. Because Tito was not going to chase you. You had to get close to him, and that's where he did work. But I don't think he fought a guy before with that kind of footwork and that kind of elusiveness and the game plan to really take it to Tito. Because like you said in the podcast, the game plan afterwards was out there for Tito on how to beat him.
Yeah.
After this fight.
Yeah. And Trinidad, he's that's like one of the first combinations he's thrown. It's just one punch and De La Hoya's out of there. Here comes the flurry, the De La Hoya flurry at the last 10 seconds. Ooh, that was a nice right hand. Yeah, he's feeling good, and I don't blame him. Everything's working.
And I think that's also, and I'm just speculating here too on like that, because Roth, that judge, is going to be, see, here we go again.
Yeah, that's not good, man.
All three of them.
Yeah.
The blood is nothing.
Now, who do you think won the second round?
I think De La Hoya won that second round.
I do too. Let's.
Don't worry, you're bleeding, but it's nothing.
I give him the first 2 rounds, you know. Most people have. And again, like like Trinidad is not landing nothing flush, you know, like it's just one punch. Like, he landed a couple left hooks right here. It was a good one. And he ate that,
got
man.
him.
Yeah, De La Hoya ate that too. But boom, nice right hand. Out of there beautifully, man.
You hear Larry Merchant say that. Won the round for De La Hoya, but Roth right now has it 2 rounds for Trinidad.
Landed more successfully in each of the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, Letterman has a 2-0 De La Hoya.
Round 3 begins with respect as the watchword. Both men seem anxious not to make a mistake, George.
Yeah, these both. That's a great. That was right on point, man. Like these 2 guys are worried to make a mistake. You know, I think Trinidad is a better counterpuncher out of the 2.
For sure.
You know, so I'm sure De La Hoya's like, you know what, I'm gonna give him a couple and bounce out of it, which he's doing beautifully. You know, but some judges hold that against you, man.
Well, Jose, how much of that do you think is respect for the opponent? Or how much of that do you think is, this is, for Tito, the biggest fight he's ever been in? Oscar, been in big fights, but this is, I feel like, another level of how big this fight was. How much do you think of it was maybe nerves for, like, a fight of this magnitude?
Yeah, that can definitely be the case here. You know, like, this is the top of the top. Like, you know, like, this, it doesn't get any bigger than this. And some fighters, them lights, you know, get really bright. It can be something that they have to work through, man. And it looks like, you know, Trinidad came out and was not ready for, 1, what De La Hoya was doing, but 2, like, for the moment, you can say, you know, and it's showing, man. He's not aggressive, you know. I think that's more De La Hoya, to be honest. But, you know, he's just, it does not look like the same fighter right now.
Excuse me. Oh, double jab at this point by De La Hoya.
I love Foreman, man, on this broadcast.
My bad. I think it's true of both fighters, Larry.
Yeah, it's absolutely true.
Yeah, he is doubling up on that jab now.
There's so much at stake and so much respect between.
Oh, good combo by Oscar right there.
Intense.
He's not hurting Tito, but he's still getting those punches in.
That was going to be my next question. Is it, do you think, like, these shots so far are not really, like, you know, he's boxing beautifully and all that, but they're not, like, real crisp, that other than that right hand, you know, like, they're just pap, 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 and they're like, you know, now those are some shots right there, but, you know, like, prior to, like, do you think that may be also, like, what the judges are looking at, where he's just, like, it's nothing really flush, it's just a couple punches, little pats here and there?
I think, yeah. And I think if Tito has done more action, and it'd be good enough. Like, say Tito just lands a few more powerful shots, then I get it.
Right.
And he's still getting, like, out-punched, but he gets a couple bigger shots in, then okay. But Tito's not landing hardly anything, like you said. So I think that's where I'm like, you got to give it to Oscar just on, like, default almost. Like,
right. Not only he's not landing because he's not throwing. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just not throwing a lot of punches.
As the great pros know how to do. To my eyes, at least, De La Hoya winning the fight with his feet so far.
Yeah, you got to give him that. De La Hoya definitely got that round, but that round looked similar to the first 2, to be honest. He threw a little more punches. He threw more power punches. Look at that. 10 punches landed, man. 33 punches thrown for Trinidad. That's just not going to get it done.
Okay, you're taking him to school. You're giving him a boxing lesson.
but it's also,
Make sure
I think people have to remember, and I feel like we see, like, I should look into, I should ask my friend, what is the training to be a judge? Because it's not a street fight.
Right.
Oh, you don't. It's not about who hurts you the most necessarily. Like, it is about just who's getting those shots in, like who's effectively winning the fight. Like, if the strategy is to not get hurt, I gotta just tag you a little bit, and you gotta come to me, and you can't get me. And that a strategy works. You got to acknowledge that. You can't be like, well, that's not real boxing. Like, no, that's part of it.
More careful could he have been in the first
Definitely
3 rounds?
part of it.
In the third, De La Hoya,
There you go.
Okay, left by Tito.
Trinidad 10 out of
Throwing
33.
3 punches. This is almost as much as he threw the second round, or the third round, excuse me.
3-0. 30-27, Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah,
He's
no matter
landing the cleanest shots. Trinidad wants it,
which fighter
and he
you were a
wants it
fan
on
of,
punches.
man. And
Oscar's
we
doing
both
a real nice
have
shot.
talked about how much we
Beautiful
love
ring
Trinidad.
shot.
You know,
Good
like,
clean
you have
punching.
to,
Oscar wins
it is what
on
it
those
is,
2
man.
points.
Facts are
I had
facts.
the
And
first
we just,
round even, Oscar winning the next 2.
yeah, Larry Merchant had the first round even, which I get that too. Like, that's,
I don't knock
I'll be
that.
okay with that. I'll be okay with that, yeah.
You can't give Trinidad definitively a round. That's what I say is wrong.
Right, got you. Yeah, I'm there with you. Yeah, that double jab is really working for him too, man. Yeah, he got blood and coming down Tito's nose. De La Hoya looks like he can go somewhere after that. That was a good shot there.
Only when Oscar gets a little lazy and drops his left hand and stands around. You got to keep jabbing.
Nobody's perfect, George.
Not in this arena.
Somebody
Thanks, Larry.
punch through sometime.
But Oscar,
Say Larry Merchant, annoying. He was so
I loved
annoying.
him.
But he was like that grumpy uncle. Like he was a part of the broadcast. It was weird when he wasn't there, but he was annoying always.
Yeah. Very sarcastic. And I love people that are like that.
Well, like I think you have like Jim Lampley, and when Max Kellerman did it, I give Max this.
I love Max Kellerman.
Max Kellerman, when he comes to other sports, boxing, Max Kellerman's amazing though.
Yeah,
like that's his
got
sport.
that. Yep. I have a lot of respect for his boxing knowledge.
Yeah, but Larry Merchant didn't seem to give the respect to the fighters enough.
Right. Yeah, ex Mayweather.
yeah. Larry was wrong for that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just missed with the right hand.
See, now this round, like, I think Trinidad
is taking it to him right now.
Winning this round, in my opinion.
Trinidad is aiming. He's even looking at Oscar's body. He shouldn't look down. Just throw the punch.
See, and that's great commentary right there, man. Like, because I didn't even notice that. But all De La Hoya is hitting him right now is with the jab, which is all right. It's great, but Trinidad is throwing the more power punches. He's throwing more punches this round. I feel like.
Yeah, we got 10 seconds. Let's see. But I think this might be the first real Trinidad round.
There you go, another right hand. There you go. Now, the ducking away like that, I think that leads to, it looks like he's running. You know what I mean? Like, and I know he's not running yet. Like, we'll get to that. But that's just, to me, that just not look good. Like, it looks like you're I don't know. I could be totally wrong on that. I'm off base.
But because we have the hindsight. They don't know what he's going to do later on in the fight yet. The judges and everything. I would say that's definitely Trinidad's round, though. That's 3-1.
Yeah. Power punches. Look, he's throwing more power punches. De La Hoya landed 4 power punches.
For Trinidad, after the left to the body, he goes with his own left to the head.
He blocked that, though. So it was like a partial punch, but still, it's there.
And we saw Oscar didn't throw punches that round.
Nope. And he was in Trinidad's wheelhouse, like up close, and Trinidad's a great counter puncher.
Even in round 4, in which Trinidad did so much better, De La Hoya outlanded him 20-12 by CompuBox numbers. But Trinidad with the 8-4 edge in power shots. De La Hoya scoring.
See, if Trinidad had more rounds like that, where Oscar outpunched him, but more power, then it would be different.
Right.
So if he had more rounds like he did in round 4, like in rounds 1 through 3, it'd be a different thing.
Right.
So I do get where the judges are coming from a little bit, but it's like Trinidad wasn't doing anything in the first 3 rounds.
No.
You gotta do something.
So at worst, like if it's like say we go 10-10 first round, De La Hoya, Trinidad. So it's 2 rounds to 1 right now. And I'm scoring it.
Yeah, I would still give it 3-1, but I think Oscar won the first 3 rounds, and Felix won round 4. Right now it's looking even so far.
Right. Nobody's really. Yeah, that's.
This is what you don't want to do if you're Oscar. Stay away from the ropes. He does. You let sleeping dogs lie. Stay away from the rope.
George is great, man.
Yeah.
Him and Manny Stewart both were great.
Manny Stewart was great too.
At Trinidad, De La Hoya has been able to maintain his game plan.
He's using the middle of the ring.
Yeah, he looks great, man. But he's not landing a lot.
He's not really throwing, doing nothing.
Yeah.
Right now, this could be a Trinidad round just on like. Oof.
That was a nice.
Yeah, that was
a nice one there. There you go. First good shot by both fighters. And this is the problem. We talked about it on the podcast there. I mean, with Trinidad, it's like it's a weak chin. Like let's just keep it real and what it is. Like so. That's why I'm also surprised that De La Hoya wasn't more aggressive. Like De La Hoya can knock Trinidad out. You know what I mean? In my opinion, but. If you do that, you leave yourself open to that left hook
Trinidad,
counter.
one of the best power, like knockout artists of his time. Like like he had power.
There you go. Took another one.
I don't know who De La Hoya had that one shot, but I still don't. Oh,
the 10-second thing. I can't stand it, man. I would give that round to Trinidad.
I would agree with you.
He got the one shot in that kind of like stopped him, but he just looks more aggressive. Like De La Hoya's like bouncing around, yes, and he's boxing beautifully, but for most of that round, he barely threw punches. See, I don't agree with that. I guess that one shot kind of like
swayed him. I could call that round a tie. That one could be a tie to me. I
look at that, and that through round 5.
Yeah, through round 5. Definitely, we know Oscar's throwing more jabs, and he's getting especially with that double jab too. But that round's tough to call for. That's probably the toughest round so far. I don't really
long enough to throw a left. A straight right,
stop him right in his tracks. You know?
Another left.
Nice
definitely his best punch of the night.
That's the best punch period of the night, probably.
Yeah.
A lot. His left eye's beginning to give him a lot of trouble. And George, you mentioned that they often tell a fighter not to blow his nose.
He should never have blown his nose. That's automatically comes with the puffiness of the eye.
Oh wow.
See, learning something, Deremy.
Always getting that knowledge, man.
I didn't know that though. That's interesting. You see a lot of fighters do that.
He's in control when you see Oscar
Should have never blown his nose.
Right combination by an increasingly dominant De La Hoya.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Now, that was a great combination by De La Hoya, but
Harold Ludeman giving that last round to Trinidad. I think I would have given it to Oscar on the big right hands.
See, there's so many different opinions on this fight, man. It's just so tough, man.
It's more. So far, it's more. I understand the controversy more than I did for all these years.
Yes, I agree. I'm with you again, bro.
Yeah, like it's not as crazy as it felt for the past 25 years, honestly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like,
I have not rewatched this in a long time. Either.
Me either. So we'll see. We got 6, 7, 8, 9.
He looks aggressive even in this round, man.
Yeah.
And it's all about, I guess, too, for some judges, like it's all about the power punches. Another right hand there, another power punch there, another one there. Like, he's chasing De La Hoya. You know what I mean? Like, in my opinion.
He's winning this round so far.
Right. And he's chasing him. And, you know, you can't just do that and then bounce around for a minute. Like, and that's what's going on here. Now, that was a great combination, and I get it. You're going to box and jump back out, but he's going to be not doing anything for 30 seconds. And now you see him waving his arms. He was talking about, you know, when they were doing the interview after the fight, excuse me, like he was tired. You know, like he was talking about he was tired. He hasn't been that tired. Now, I'll say this is the most I've seen him like bounce around a lot.
Absolutely.
And things, you know, so he was definitely, I think Trinidad's power forced him to do that, but you see him waving his arms there, like his arms are tired, like he's using a lot of, you know, energy running around.
Trinidad misses 3 times with the left hand. Make it 4. De La Hoya sticks him with the right.
That's baby, yeah.
Yeah, like he's all hyping that punch up.
De La Hoya sticks it in his face. Big round.
Now when they're close. What? Where? Now, okay, that was a nice right hand.
And another hand lands.
Leaning toward Oscar this round for what he's done at the end.
tremendous scoring round for Oscar De La Hoya.
I'm gonna say
it's tough, man. Because I don't know. I think it was the beginning of the round. It was dominated by Trinidad, though. But De La Hoya dominated the second half of the round.
We still have a long way to go.
if I'm gonna give it 1 through 3 Oscar, 4, 5 Tito, 6. I'm gonna give it to Oscar.
Right now, the judges have it even. Well, pretty much even.
Well, I think it was 1 was even, Roth even, and then the other 2.
De La Hoya won by 1, right?
Yeah.
Listen to me, Oscar.
What do you think about the
And
trainer
De La Hoya
and
wants to get back to the action.
the controversy
In round
with the
6
trainer
by
that De La Hoya said that they,
he
you
landed
know,
29
later on
of
in the fight
55
told him
punches.
to
Trinidad, who's accustomed to
kind
landing
of
half his
No,
punches,
I mean,
turn
at
into
a
a track star.
27% rate. De La Hoya is up at 41%.
it's Oscar's fault because for those who, if you're watching this and you haven't watched, you can go back to our archives on YouTube and we talk about the Oscar De La Hoya documentary that was on last year. That one trainer, I should know his name, the guy who got him probably like in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
That older guy
Yes.
who kind of had some like conspiracy theory kind of thoughts and stuff, but really showed him and really stepped Oscar up to beat like Chavez and go to that next level. Oscar broke away from him, and I wonder, Jose, what Oscar's career would be if he would have stuck with that guy. That guy was like his customato, in my opinion.
Yeah, he had him super sharp, man. And, you know, but this is, again, like you mentioned, it's the boxer. You know, and now he's making decisions on his own now. You know, like, and he's changing trainers. This is not the first time he's going to change trainers. You know, I feel like there's been a few, like a handful of trainers with De La Hoya. You know, and that might have been a career mistake there for him.
I have to assume that the boos are being directed.
A lot of times you gotta look at it, and we're not in camps, but sometimes I wonder, and no different in a way with coaching and other sports, where a lot of times it's like, how often do we have to look at, like, is it the coach or the player? Is it, so like boxer, like Oscar was switching trainers a lot, especially later on, and I'm like, look at the man in the mirror, bro.
Oh, but that left jab.
Right. So you're changing trainers because you want to find the one to do it the way you want to do it, or you know, like, are you going to start listening to these guys? And
the picture you get, presumably from out there among the fans, is one man dancing around the ring and the other man chasing him. There's a natural inclination to think, one guy's trying to not to fight, and the other guy is trying to fight.
Interesting point.
Well, he's making it work.
That's what it looked like, you know? And if you were thinking that, who knows what the judges are thinking.
He's just trying to win this
fight. He's throwing just as many punches as Trinidad. He's choosing when to stand his ground and rallying and moving away.
Oh, but that's...
Now I would give this round to Oscar so far. Unless something drastic happens.
Yeah.
So you're in the crowd boo, and I don't think that's just Trinidad fans booing. So far, Deremy, this is the end of round 7. It has not lived up to the fight of the Millennium.
It's been disappointing, and I felt this way back in '99. It was disappointing, and there was a little bit of like, because I think that's the thing too with these 12-round fights, as we see now. Just rewatch it; they go quick.
Yeah.
Like, especially like action or no action, you're like, geez, like. And I remember thinking, well, we got a few more rounds, but I'm not getting what I thought.
And another one after the bell sounds, and
look at Trinidad.
Here we go.
Get the fuck out of here. Oh, no, he don't, Jim. You're hyping De La Hoya up too much, man. Man, he gave that to Trinidad.
Don't get out of your concentration. You need to stay focused.
You got Oscar for that round?
The same you're doing. You're doing good.
Yeah.
Punch this guy to hell, Oscar. Just like you said you were going to do.
But I can understand, and I think the key is to see when he starts really running around. And especially if it's 9 or 10, if you give me 3 or possibly 4 rounds of like just strictly running, not even trying to throw punches, you're not up as big as I thought, honestly,
right,
to overcome that.
So Yeah, that was a great round. That was a good right hand though by Trinidad at the end there.
Oscar stops, catches a little jab to the whiskers.
Yo, Trinidad is a G though. I don't care.
Oh, Tito's the man. But even Oscar, when he's trying to be tough like that, he like points he is corny. Like he just is.
Yeah.
But the thing is though, I think we all can be corny. I like people accept your corniness. That's what I like. Like just like embrace it. Then it's like that's cool, man.
Felix can't find it.
Some are cornier than others though.
Some people are, but I respect it. You're cornier, but you don't try to be something else. That's to me the ultimate thing about being cool is you are comfortable with whoever you are. You know who you are. You know who you're not. And I think that's what I look at Oscar like. You were. Tito was who he was. One thing I think what made people love Tito is you knew he was going to go back to San Juan and he's going to be chilling with everybody. Like, that was him. And he didn't change. And I like that about him then and now.
Yeah, he was loved for that, man.
With a straight right. And another right hand right down the pipe.
Lampley does love some Oscar.
Yeah, man. Like, it's like the one punch he throws, it's like, oh my God. Like,
left hook to the body.
Yeah, that was low.
Wants him to bring it up.
Oh, but a good right hand. Oscar De La Hoya.
Suddenly, Oscar setting up his right hand with the left.
I get the sense, Jim and George, that Oscar thinks that Trinidad is weakening and that he can go at him.
No, what I'm seeing, Larry, is Oscar's tiredness is starting to show, in my opinion. Like he looks like he's winded. Like because he's standing a little bit more.
Right, the bouncing, he's still bouncing a little bit, but it's not as often as he was. He's standing in front of Trinidad a little more.
And on his toes, Oscar's the best power puncher in that weight division.
What he's showing is
I don't know about that either.
I disagree, George.
Yeah.
He moves, he stops, he throws 3 or 4 punch combinations, and he gets right out of there before Trinidad can respond.
But no, not this round. He's just moving.
Some desperate moves to change.
He'll throw a couple punches, and even if he misses, it's like the biggest thing of all time, and that's where I think some judges don't fall for that stuff.
Oh, but that left jab just bends his neck back, and back.
So he's got the makings right now of like the running around.
It's not official, but I think I have it for Tito right now though.
Yeah, especially right now. Oscar's losing this round right now.
Yeah.
As if to say that was a good punch.
But it's one punch.
So
no, I'm not giving it to you.
Number of combinations. And we've seen what happens when Oscar De La Hoya is behind in the late rounds of a big fight. What happens with Felix Trinidad?
His papa's happy, but this isn't.
Here's been the difference.
This is close.
Done tonight. More straight right hands.
Because I mean, you could say we're through 8 rounds.
His hook,
if you want to count round 1 a draw,
used his right hand more than we've
you could say 4-3-1,
which has kept Trinidad
or
off
5. Yeah, 4-3-1.
Or 5-3.
Or 5-3.
Welterweight, dead active, and with that.
Either way, it's close.
No.
Copy box numbers on the jabs through round 8.
And I think it's that close. I think it's not bad.
You know, everybody has spent a lot of energy looking back at Hearns.
So it's so close that if you're throwing away rounds, that's going to hurt you big time.
Yeah. This is really interesting now.
Everybody was looking
man, and this is why we do the show, because I don't think I've ever been more wrong about something going into an episode than this right here.
By De La Hoya.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah,
sure.
It's making me rethink. Hey, man, that party you did that night might have been well-deserved after all.
Oh, yeah.
Copy box numbers, De La Hoya 30 out of 64.
Let's see here.
At 15 out of 39. Another
so I think round 8 we start to see this. Like the couple punches and just circling around the ring.
Oscar can see it. A little injured. He broke his forehead.
Hey, that was a good combination,
That's a
man.
good combination.
Really good.
Another one. Getting some good body shots.
Outclass is too big a word for what's happening here, but it's verging on that. As De La Hoya
Disagree, Jim. He's not outclassed. That's what everyone thought. But we were all wrong that night.
There's not enough of them. There's a big power shot by
that was a good
Felix,
shot, too.
That was.
De La Hoya in the corner.
Well, when you're doing that good as De La Hoya is, you don't mind your guy throwing some shots because you've got your eye on him and you know exactly what he can't do.
Okay.
It's like a sparring match at this point.
And as De La Hoya has decided to shorten the distance between himself and Trinidad.
Yeah, these guys, I don't know. Like I know we love these guys as broadcasters, but they were wrong, man, this fight.
They're getting a lot of stuff wrong, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the way they're broadcasting this fight is also lending to a lot of people's opinions.
For sure. I mean, you just heard Jim Lampley say outclass is not strong enough of a word, and he's very wrong on that.
Yeah.
The game plan was a good game plan, but he executed it
good defensive skills on display.
Too timidly.
Right. Now, if he would have, like that beginning of this round, when he was throwing those combinations to the body, and I know you can't fight like that the entire fight, but if he did more than that, you take away those two flurries this round.
It's nothing.
It's got nothing.
This is a hit and run.
And Tito, this round, has gotten some, but he hasn't got a combo yet. But he's gotten some, like, shots in.
And he's literally running after him. You know what I mean? Like, that was a good shot.
Right hand flush on the face of Felix.
Those right hands don't carry the power of his left hand, but Trinidad has been able to deal with the left hand, those left hooks.
Yeah.
He hasn't been ready for the straight right hand.
Those straight right hands look good on the scorecard, whether they do damage or not. Another combination by De La Hoya. De La Hoya with more energy as the round comes to a close.
This might be a De La Hoya round too.
It's a De La Hoya round.
De La Hoya has simply.
So I can say 6-3 or 5-3-1.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the 5-3-1.
Round 10 coming up.
Just keep moving your head like that. Just move side to side.
But if it's 6-3 even, like let's just go with that. If we have to see when the running really started. If he runs for 3 rounds.
Side to side, Oscar. You gotta listen.
Yeah. And I think the key is, do you dock even more for running?
We need just a little bit more. Make sure you want the
right.
rounds, okay?
Like, and I wouldn't have a problem with that. Like, you can't win a fight like that. You just can't do it, man. Like we talked about it during the podcast. Like, yeah, this is a great combination right there, man. But
because if you run for a whole round, I can't call it a 10-9 round.
Right.
You know, I wouldn't feel right if you were legit just running around. Like, I'm not going to give you a 9.
I think
you didn't even look like you're trying to engage.
Felix Trinidad is going to have to do something dramatic.
Let's see here.
Soon to turn this around.
Yeah, it's a little more flat-footed here already.
Moving his head, and then Oscar sticks him with that stiff left jab.
You don't want to do that.
Oscar De La Hoya has had 2 knockouts past the 9th round in his career. Felix Trinidad only one. It was against Anthony Stevens 6 years ago. Now Trinidad.
So already starting off, and now he's bouncing around. Now he felt that flurry.
To upend Oscar De La Hoya. Harold, how do you have it through 9?
Jim, 6 rounds to 3, 87,
he gave that to Trinidad,
yeah. Boxing beautifully. I think Felix Trinidad's just not shot. I don't know if we expected Oscar to be in front of him or not, but hey, Oscar right there. Oscar's moving beautifully. That's ring generalship. Landing great shots. That counts in the scoring. Beautiful job.
Ring generalship, I get that, but
I have it 6 rounds to 2 and 1 even.
Wow.
And while Harold gave the last round to Trinidad,
so I was a Harold 6-3. You're 5-3-1. I agree more. I don't agree with Larry. I think it's between our 2 scores, really.
Yeah, in this round, he's not bouncing around as much as he's talking about. Like,
with this right hand now, it's not any power.
This is all Tito so far.
Yeah.
He's trying to load up with a left hook. It misses.
Right now, young Jose screaming at the TV like, this dude is running, man.
Yeah.
Like,
It's desperation time. And Trinidad knows it. And so does De La Hoya.
When you're desperate like that for a few rounds, the judges are watching it and they think that you're in control.
De La Hoya punishing Trinidad.
Still not enough for De La Hoya.
Trying to take some of Trinidad's power away as Felix tries to rally down the stretch. Oscar lands a little left hook.
Man.
And steps away.
Yeah, this is
everything he should do. Oscar's just not making it work.
Not allowing it to work.
He's not allowing it to work.
Yeah, how can you?
Comes back with a little left to the body.
Can't work if the guy's running.
You know, what I find
it's still Tito's round to me.
Is that De La Hoya made his reputation through most of his fights as a warrior. Here he is, a boxer.
Yeah, I don't know about that warrior thing.
Oscar De La Hoya has had a pattern of swelling under the left eye.
Remember though, he's coming off of the Corte fight.
Yeah, the Corte one, he was definitely.
Yeah, so that was a fight he showed it.
As Trinidad's right hand begins to produce some swelling. De La Hoya rallies in the last 10 seconds. Left hook to the body, a right uppercut. Trinidad comes back with a straight right hand, and they trade punches.
Yeah, that wasn't enough for me. His dad smacks him up. That's so funny to me.
So everybody did it the right thing. Gave it to Tito that round.
So you got two more rounds here, Deremy.
So you got it. Right now it'd be a draw.
Yeah.
Box the next 2 rounds. That's all what you need. 2 more rounds. Box the next 2 rounds. That's it. And we go home. Once in a while, now to get his respect.
So there was no real like. I haven't seen him like really give any coaching. It's just more like he's like a motivator almost in the corner.
No, I remember at I forget which round, but Oscar barely sat down and was ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't even listening to him.
He's gonna beat up already. Now we gotta go to work. Now it's your fight.
Everybody smacking him up, man.
Oh, yeah.
Trinidad with a 24-15 edge in power shots in round 10. Felix's dad slapping him between rounds as if to say, wake up, come on, the time is now.
There you go, aggressive.
To knock De La Hoya out.
You can't wait. You got to do what you're going to do if you're Trinidad. You can't stop and look at what you're going to do.
Fight getting closer on Harold Letterman's card. Trinidad still with a mathematical chance to draw there or to win if he could get a 2-point round.
Yeah, that would have been huge for him.
Box, but he should have said jab and box.
Don't
try to win the fight by just saving the fight. Try to win the fight.
There you go. And that's a great point, because if he's jabbing at least, like, looks like he's trying to do something. At this point, he's not even throwing the jab.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it gets really, that's a great point by Foreman. Like, that's where it looks even worse, you know? Like,
no, for sure. He looks bad here. We're at 6-4. At least in you're 5-4-1.
5-4-1, yeah.
Both fighters probably, in fact, did just that.
Not as crazy. Like I thought it was way more far apart than I'm stunned by how close. Like, this is not that controversial.
Yeah. No, I agree. I thought he dominated those first 4 or 5 rounds easily, and he did not. You know, so if he didn't do that, I get why they gave the decision to Trinidad. We even talked about it on the podcast how we thought, yeah, De La Hoya won that fight. Now we're retracting a little bit here.
I'm definitely retracting. Still listen to the podcast, people, but
yeah. I mean, we didn't say that. We
didn't say all that. But Jerry Roth, man, 25 years. I thought, like, how did you become a judge? But I owe you an apology, man. This is close.
Now De La Hoya back with some straight punches, but still, it's Trinidad throwing the bigger thunder.
Yeah, and that's something that means something, man.
Even Jim Lampley.
Finally, took 11 rounds.
I'm going to ask him. I think Manny Pacquiao and De La Hoya are his favorite fighters.
Throw something hard. Just throw anything hard.
Yeah, even Foreman's begging him at this point.
This is not an edifying moment For De La Hoya, the way he's fought this round.
I don't even know what that means. I know that's not good. I'm just gonna say that out loud. Like, I know it ain't good.
Yeah, it's bad. But this is a Tito round here.
Oh, easily, man. Like, easily. He's taking easily. I thought these last couple rounds it was just him running, and nah, he's taking it to him, man. And I know he's not hitting him with anything crazy, but he's very, very aggressive. Look at that. He's got two. All right, so right now, two of the judges have Trinidad winning the fight.
Last round.
Oscar, 3 minutes.
This is becoming, in my opinion, what I didn't think it was. It's true. This is the biggest black mark on De La Hoya's boxing career.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was before watching this fight, but this is bad. And I don't ever want to, because you're a warrior to be in the ring, right?
Right. Absolutely.
But I don't think anything away, but this is embarrassing. Like,
yeah. Because
you did not, you had the game plan, but then you didn't follow through with it, and then you coasted way too early.
Saw that.
Huh?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Look at Harold. Making it closer.
And there's such a difference in, like, each fighter. One fighter's, like, ready to come out. Trinidad, like, is all, he's active. You know, the corner's active. De La Hoya's on the corner, like, he don't even know what's going on. Looked like the Monstars took his, like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, took his abilities and stuff. Like, he's just, it's a different fighter, man. Now, do you think it's because he's just tired like that? I mean, that was his excuse that he had a couple excuses. He was tired, and then the corner told him to do this.
I believe he was tired. I believe those two are factors. The main factor, he thought he was way ahead on the score. Because the reaction that we get after the fight and the reaction that we've seen when he's walking to the locker room, he's thinking he's way ahead. So the main thing, because he's the one in there, he thought it. I think those other two played into it. I don't think he's lying about those other two things. What I don't like is he's blaming it on those other two things.
Right.
Look at this. This is a shame here.
See, the dude was doing the chicken. Like the dude in the crowd. I never saw that.
De La Hoya has endeared himself to the fans here tonight, but he probably has endeared himself to the officials.
And he's endeared himself to his
because Jose, we could do this.
Right.
And that's not being exaggerating. I mean, how people say, I'll get in the ring for $1 million with Mike Tyson. Well, yeah, to fight, not to run around. I'm like, well, I ain't gonna take that bet. Yeah, you're gonna let him chase you for 3 minutes, like, and then your chances increase. Like,
look at him, man. Look at that. This is for as big of a fight as this is. As a fighter, I don't think I can do this. Like, yeah, I'm ahead. I'm gonna try to knock him out, man.
And the biggest fight of your career up to this point. It probably maybe, I don't know if he had a fight that was more.
No, not yet.
You know,
as big as this, no. I mean, he was a big draw. Don't get me wrong, but nothing is as big as this. And this was like the complete opposite of what he did in that previous fight with Corte, where it was a draw and he had to win that last round, and he came out and he just took it to Corte. This was like, but again, I think it's the fact that he thought that he was so ahead.
It has to be.
Tell me, do you think
he thought he was ahead? The corner thought he was ahead.
I don't think so. I think he had the fight in control, and now he's leaving in the hand of the judges.
I love it. I'm surprised. Joel, who was always hard on him, that's the happiest I ever saw him during and after a fight.
How do you give that round to De La Hoya?
That is exactly my suspicion as well. It was not what boxing fans hoped for.
Nope.
Now will it be what De La Hoya hoped for? Harold, what's your final score?
Jim, I disagree totally. Felix Trinidad, absolutely, without question, sweat. 9, 10, 11, and 12. He pressed the action. He woke up. Something happened.
So
De
he
La Hoya
won
stopped throwing punches.
1,
Felix
2,
Trinidad
3,
deserves
4,
draw.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He won 7
6
out of
rounds
the last
apiece.
9
They had
rounds, it
one
looks
no
like.
even rounds.
Who?
Decisive rounds.
Trinidad.
One guy, well, the other one.
From the 4th to the 12th, he
beautifully
won
through the first 6 or
6
so.
of those
Felix
rounds,
only
7 of
won
those
2
rounds.
He won 4 and 5.
I have it as a technically on the scorecard a draw.
At the end
I
of
have it 6 rounds each. And then the way he fought, it's either a draw or Trinidad.
Right.
It's not Oscar. The way he did that, those last
Now let's
3
see.
rounds especially,
The same way.
I could not legitly now give Oscar that win.
Not what boxing fans
I could give it a draw.
The
best I could do for Oscar is a draw.
Respect-filled boxing.
I am stunned here. I thought this was a black mark for boxing. The judges actually did okay on this one.
Yeah, no, they called their fight. You know what I mean? Like, pretty much. And they didn't let those little flurries, you know, like sway them and things like that, like a lot of judges do in Vegas for De La Hoya. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of them. And I think that's why also he was so stunned, because he was so used to getting that. Here we go, Deremy.
Len Hamada scores the bout 114 to 114. He has it
That's the
even.
draw.
Bob Logis scores the bout 115 to 114. And Jerry Roth scores the bout 115 to 113.
He's saying he won.
For the winner by majority decision, de Puerto Rico and the unified welterweight champion of the world.
Dude, we were going crazy. Like, this is like that. How was that dude with the double peace sign?
Oh yeah. I remember those shots. That was unbelievable.
Man, people were in the streets, like, cheering. I've never seen anything like that prior to. Like, I've seen nothing like that. And they were closing streets and partying it up in the middle of the street, man.
Yeah,
like,
I do remember that.
I was like, wow.
There was news coverage of that in Philadelphia, like showing like.
Right.
Yep.
He was reach out and pop. He let the guy have the fight.
And I do believe Tito did not fight a great fight here.
No.
And I don't like to use this word as I get older in sports. Oscar blew it. He choked.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more I can say than this was a choke job.
Right. And now he's walking around complaining, like, making faces and.
Do you even know what he's saying, Oscar?
Hell no, probably not.
Yeah, I'm like, dude.
Show of respect between the two fighters after months of disrespect.
I want to see some final stats, and I know they're going to favor Trinidad, but
wow,
yeah,
I've never been more wrong.
Though.
I've never been more wrong about. Usually, all these years I thought Oscar got robbed. He did not.
Nah, he didn't get robbed. Now, do you think that reaction? I know he just unified the belts and, you know, won the biggest fight of his career. Do you think that reaction was like that he felt like he wasn't going to win that decision? Or it was just joy, like, in winning the biggest fight of his career?
I think probably the first. I think because you heard the difference in training. We know how great of a trainer his dad, Tito Sr., was. His dad said it, though. You got it. You wake up. That's why the smacking. You got to get it. And we get to 10. You got to get these rounds. And then the last round, you got to get the 12th. After the 11th, when he got that one, he's like, come on, you got to get this round. So they put the pressure, which was right. Let him know, you got to get this. So I think it was like, yeah, like it's down to the wire. We got to get it. And he got it. I think this was the biggest fight of his career. I remember we didn't show it on here. But one thing I remember from '99 when they announced him and he came in with the straw hat and everything and he saw like the lights. I remember Tito's face looking up and saw the crowd and everybody. And I remember Larry Merchant being like, he's seeing this is a fight. This is bigger than what he's ever been in. And I think that did play a part in Tito. and helped Oscar. Oscar, this is the biggest fight of Oscar's career, but he had been in a lot of big fights.
He was used to the big moment for sure, and he took advantage of that early on.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, and even like to your point, what you just said about like the difference, I think in training too. Like the one trainer was like, "All right, well, we're gonna just mail this in and just win it." Like you don't do that. You don't do that in boxing, man. Like because I think again, like Vegas, De La Hoya, it's automatic. It's going to be a win if it's close, but the fighter also listened to all that and was just kind of like running around like we've been talking about. On the flip side, I think Trinidad did a great job in giving that urgency, and I think Trinidad did a great job in receiving that and was very, very aggressive those last 4 rounds. So,
well,
man.
and then this fight, what people were comparing it to back, '99, where could it be a Leonard Hearns match? And one thing that I always loved, and we did a podcast episode about that fight.
Absolutely, check
and
the
that
archives.
Check the archives, and that anniversary's coming up too. But everyone remembers Leonard's losing the fight. Got that big welt around the eye. Angelo Dundee says, "You're blowing it, son. You're blowing it." And you gotta talk real. Like there's no realer moment, even to me, more than coach player in other sports than that. And the fight in between those rounds, the trainer and a boxer. And you want to throw in UFC now because it's that they can include that too. There's no more personal relationship in sport. That's more than a manager and a pitcher.
Yeah, absolutely.
A quarterback coach.
That's
and
like
a coordinator.
father-son to a lot of guys. Like,
because you are putting your life on the line, and you have to look out for him, and you got to throw that white towel in. If your guy don't got it, you got to show that he don't got it. I don't want to see him get hurt.
Right.
So you got to be real. I remember Teddy Atlas with that Moore Holyfield fight and how real Teddy Atlas was getting with Michael Moore. De La Hoya's trainers did not do that.
No, I think the moment was a little too big for them too. Like I think they were more pleasing the fighter than keeping it real with him, and I think they didn't have the ability to do that. I think it was Oscar's running the show and not the trainer.
Oscar and probably Joel.
Yeah, true.
Oscar's dad.
True. Yeah, because if they would have, if it was a good trainer, they would have told him like, you're ahead, but you got to keep going, you got to keep fighting. And again, he told him to box. He didn't tell him to run in circles. You know what I mean? Like, and I think Foreman's point was spot on and brilliant. Like, you can run around a little bit, but you got to at least throw the jab, and he wasn't doing any of that.
The only running around I've ever seen fighters do is for that last round. I don't recall anyone doing it for 3 to 4 rounds before or after. And I'm sure there's even we love to call ourselves sports historians. I'm sure there's some boxing historians who might be like, well, this fight, I don't recall it for that many rounds. In a big fight, not that many rounds.
And how many times we've seen fighters where they were ahead in the scorecard and they're like, what are they doing? Like, all he has to do is kind of stay away. And they're in there mixing it up still because that's what boxers do. And I think we talked about it earlier in this episode, definitely on the podcast episode, how De La Hoya felt like he was always trying to prove himself into his community and his race and in the boxing community. This really hurt him bad. You know what I mean? Because again, I think for a lot of fans that were maybe not De La Hoya fans, which at the moment I was not, at 99, I definitely was not. It proved to me why I felt like that. It's because this dude was soft and, even though he did everything with Corte and I know now he's not soft for sure, but he proved it to everybody that he was not willing to stay in there, mix it up with big punchers like that.
He did. He absolutely did. And that's the thing. And I remember that Corte fight because I was a big Ike Corte fan.
He was a good fighter.
Good fighter. And I was disappointed that he didn't get that win. But I just got to look at it and say, man, to go from that to then this is such an ugly black mark on that career, man. And some fights, because you look at like the Whitaker fight, people wondered did Oscar really win that fight, and then your highlight is against Chavez, a great fighter, but let's be real, he was older too.
He was old, yeah, he was old. He didn't win that Whitaker fight, by the way. I don't think he did, but
I don't think Oscar won that fight either. I remember that fight. My dad, Sam Dove, love Pernell Whitaker. My uncle,
Great fighter.
love Pernell. That Sweet Pea was one of the first must-watch fighters I remember. Like, we watched his fights. I remember watching that fight. I remember where I was. Oscar did not win that fight.
You want to talk about boxing? Clinton, like, he was walking out of this fight and saying all that. That was a boxing clinic by Sweet Pea Whitaker.
So it's disappointing. It really is, and I'm surprised. But yeah, the judges did not get it wrong, and for us and for people in boxing who always call out judges, and rightfully so, this is not one of them. You can't do that. They did job well done by them.
Job well done. Yeah, and again, I mean, I was a little biased at the time, but yeah, definitely job well done. Because just looking back at this and really just looking at it like with the thought process of like, yeah, I'm going to watch De La Hoya dominate, and what am I going to say when he's doing that? Like, you know what I mean, on this episode. And he did some of that. Don't get me wrong. There were some rounds he definitely dominated, but he did not dominate like I thought he did or remember that he did. This was totally different, man, from the perspective I had all these years, man. So I'm glad we did this fight, because it just, to me, it just kind of like let me know that in the moment, I was like, man, he won this fight. You know what I mean? Like, and looking back, I was just always second guessing that.
No, this was a great one, man. And we're going to continue to bring a lot of great content for you guys.
Yep.
Please like, subscribe, follow our YouTube channel, like and subscribe, follow our podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. We love doing these rewatches for you guys. And hit us up on Twitter/X at Bigger Game Pod to let us know what rewatches you want to see us do. Boxing or any other sport. We love doing these, so please let us know. And share with your friends, and let us know also if you think, hey, you kind of agree with the judges, you agree with us that Trinidad really won this fight, or do you still think Oscar should have got it? So let us know that. But Jose, this was a fun one.
It was fun, man. It was just very eye-opening, but it was fun.
Hey, we keep it real for people, so we let them know, like, we think we're not just always saying we know. This is the most wrong in 4.5 years doing this show I've ever been. Like, was this episode? Like, wow.
Yeah.
Did not see that coming. So this was fun.
We were educated as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But for the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jose Ruiz, I'm Deremy Dove. Thank you guys for watching Bigger Than the Game with Deremy and Jose.
Peace.